There's something strange that happens after 60. You walk into a room you've lived in for decades, a room that looks clean on the surface, but it doesn't feel peaceful. The bed is made, the nightstand's dusted, the bathroom stocked. Yet every time you finish cleaning, you're more tired than when you started. Why? Because you're not just cleaning surfaces. You're cleaning around decisions you've postponed for years. Most older adults don't realize this. They're using maybe 20% of what's actually in their bedroom and bathroom. The other 80%, it's just there, resting on shelves, filling drawers, sitting quietly, asking nothing, but offering nothing in return. That might not seem like a big deal until one Sunday afternoon you catch yourself avoiding an entire drawer just because of what's inside, or you find yourself cleaning the same corner for the 5th time, wondering why it never feels finished. This isn't about mess. It's about weight. And Irvéna, 68, retired, widowed, found a way to release it. What she changed in her bedroom didn't just make it cleaner. It made it lighter, quieter, easier to breathe in, easier to sleep in. Her method doesn't involve bins, expensive organizers, or hauling things out to the curb. It's about seeing what's actually serving you and what's just sitting there stealing your energy. What about you? Look around your bedroom. What's one thing you haven't used in a year but can't seem to part with? Tell us in the comments. Let's talk about it. Irvéna had always been the kind of woman who kept things in order. Raised during a time when a clean home was a reflection of self-respect, she kept her Kansas bungalow spotless, fresh sheets on Sundays, folded towels by color, and a bathroom that smelled faintly of lemon cleaner. Neighbors often complimented her house. So neat, they'd say, so well kept. But behind that tidiness, something else lingered. Every week, she found herself cleaning for hours, but not feeling any lighter. Her bedroom looked presentable, yes, but something about it still made her restless. As if the room had too many stories, too many decisions piled up in drawers, too many items sitting in silence. There was the nightstand with old receipts and backup batteries for devices she no longer used. A jewelry box filled with tangled chains she hadn't worn in years. Her husband's glasses still sat in the top drawer 5 years after he passed. Not because she wanted to keep them, but because she didn't know what it would mean to let them go. This is the part of aging that no one talks about. The invisible layer of tension between a clean house and a peaceful one. You see, Irvéna didn't live in clutter. She lived in emotional weight, the kind that hides in objects. A framed photo of a vacation she doesn't remember enjoying. 5 fancy scarves she kept just in case she started going out more again. The robe hanging on the hook, unworn, untouched, but tied to a birthday long past. This is what so many seniors feel but never name. The burden of keeping things that once meant something but no longer do. What made it more confusing for Irvéna was that she had routines. She wiped down surfaces, she vacuumed, she kept her bathroom stocked. So why did it still feel like work? Why did she wake up dreading the very space meant to give her rest? The answer came slowly. It wasn't about how she cleaned. It was about what she was keeping clean and why. Her frustration wasn't with dust or dirt. It was with the things that stayed in the room but no longer serve her. And that realization became the turning point. Not because she threw everything away, but because she started asking one new question. Does this still support the life I'm living now? Most people over 60 aren't surrounded by trash. They're surrounded by things that meant something once, but haven't been reevaluated in years. That's what makes Irvéna's story different. It's not about extreme minimalism. It's about finally giving yourself permission to update your space to reflect who you are now, not who you were or who others needed you to be. And once she started, it wasn't just her bedroom that changed. It was how she felt in it. Not everything that weighs you down looks like clutter. In Irvéna's bedroom, there was no obvious mess, no piles on the floor, no overflowing hampers. But there were dozens of good items, things that felt too useful, too pretty, or too expensive to throw away. And those were the ones that drained her the most. Take the decorative pillows, for example. She had 7 arranged neatly across her bed. Every morning, she fluffed them. Every night, she threw them on the floor. They served no purpose other than habit. And yet she kept them year after year because they made the bed look complete. Or so she thought. Then there were the books. 5 shelves of them. Hardcover cookbooks from the 1980s. Old novels she meant to reread. Bibles in 3 translations, even though she only ever opened one. Some had dust on the spines, so thick she couldn't read the titles anymore. Still, they sat there, quietly reminding her of what she used to enjoy. And in her closet, a floral dress from her son's wedding. A coat she hadn't worn since moving out of Chicago. Blouses from a job she retired from 8 years ago. All still in good condition. All taking up space she didn't have the heart to reclaim. She also had a drawer full of unused gift bags, bows, and boxes, collected over the years just in case. But now, with fewer visitors, fewer parties, and simpler holidays, those maybe one day supplies became yet another thing to clean around. At first, she didn't even see these items as a problem. They weren't broken. They weren't messy. But after years of moving them, dusting them, or simply ignoring them, she realized they were adding work to her life without adding value. So she created a rule. If it doesn't help my body or soothe my mind, it doesn't belong near where I sleep. It became her filter for every decision in the room. Did this item comfort her? Did it serve her now? Or was it just something she was afraid to let go of? One by one, the excess disappeared. She donated the pillows, gave the books to the library, packed up the clothes, and let her neighbor choose what she liked. And the gift boxes? She kept 2. The rest were recycled. What changed was immediate. She began sleeping more soundly. Her mind wasn't distracted by the quiet pull of old decisions. Her morning routine, once cluttered with choices, became smooth and simple. And most surprising of all, her energy returned. Without realizing it, she'd been starting and ending every day in a room that asked too much of her. Now that room gave something back, calm. If your bedroom could speak to you today, what would it ask you to release? What's quietly draining you, even if it looks nice or useful? Let us know in the comments. You're not alone in this. Irvéna didn't realize how much her shower shelf was stressing her out until she finally looked at it with clear eyes. There were bottles stacked behind bottles. 2 conditioners, 3 shampoos, 1 almost empty body wash, and a thick facial scrub she hadn't used since the holidays 2 years ago. A razor that hadn't been touched in months sat balanced awkwardly on a rusting metal tray. At first glance, it didn't seem like a problem. But each time she stepped into the shower, her eyes had to scan, her hands had to reach, and her balance had to adjust. The real danger wasn't just a mess. It was the mental load. One morning, she dropped a half-empty lotion bottle, trying to clean around it. It slipped, hit the tile, and rolled out of reach. Bending down for it, she felt her hip tighten, and that was the moment something clicked. I'm making this harder than it needs to be. That night, she pulled a chair into the bathroom, grabbed a plastic bin, and began pulling every bottle off the shelf. She checked the labels. 2 had expired last year. 1 had turned cloudy. A few others had broken caps or missing labels altogether. The strange thing was, she didn't even like most of them. Some were gifted. Others were bought during sales she no longer remembered. None of them were helping her feel clean, safe, or comforted. So she tried something radical. She chose just 3. A body soap with a pump top, a shampoo she liked the smell of, and a small bottle of lotion she used after every shower. That was it. She wiped the shelf, spaced the bottles out, and labeled each one with large, bold lettering she could read easily without squinting. The change was immediate. Her shower suddenly felt more open. Her movements were smoother. There was no reaching, no guessing, no risk of knocking something over. And best of all, she didn't dread cleaning it anymore. With fewer items, she could wipe the shelf in seconds. No heavy scrubbing, no juggling clutter. For seniors, this kind of simplicity does more than save time. It can prevent injuries. A cluttered shower invites distraction, and distraction, even just for a second, can lead to slips, strains, or worse. This wasn't just about bottles. It was about designing the space around her safety and peace of mind, not leftover purchases or old habits. Now, every time she steps into her shower, it feels like a small act of care for her body, for her balance, for her future. So ask yourself, when was the last time you actually checked the expiration dates on the items in your shower? What could you remove right now to make your routine safer, simpler, and easier to clean? Tell us below. It might be the small shift that changes everything. There was one drawer Irvéna avoided. She dusted the top of the dresser. She wiped the handles. But she hadn't opened that drawer in over a year. Maybe longer. It wasn't cluttered. It wasn't messy. In fact, it barely looked touched. But every time she reached for it, something in her chest tightened. And so, she kept moving past it, pretending it wasn't there. One quiet afternoon, after clearing out her shower and simplifying her bedroom, she finally sat down beside it. Inside, she found her late husband's razor, still in its leather case, still with the little card he kept inside it that said "one day at a time." Next to it, a broken pin from their 25th anniversary dinner, and a dried-out bottle of her favorite perfume, the one he used to compliment every time she wore it. She hadn't forgotten these things. She just hadn't faced them. It hit her all at once. These weren't objects. They were unanswered questions. Emotional clutter disguised as personal items. That drawer didn't just hold things. It held weight, memory, guilt, grief. And for 5 years, she had told herself, "I'll sort through it one day." But one day never came. Because the truth is, when we're older, it's not the big messes that exhaust us. It's the little ones that whisper every time we open a drawer. That day, she made a new rule. One drawer, one decision at a time. No rushing, no shame. She created 2 zones. One called daily use, things she needed, touched, or used every week. Nail clippers, hand cream, a pill cutter, a small mirror. And then a second box, just one small container. She labeled it memory box. She placed the razor inside, the card, the broken pin, a few other pieces that truly meant something to her heart, not just her habits. And she gave herself permission to let the rest go. Not because it didn't matter, but because it had already served its purpose. That drawer? It's now clean, organized, and easy to open. But more than that, it's quiet. It no longer stirs anxiety. It doesn't carry weight. It holds only what belongs to the life she's living now. This is something many older adults live with every day: invisible clutter. Drawers that feel heavier than they look. Cabinets filled with emotion, not just objects. But Irvéna proves something important. You don't need to erase your past. You just need to decide what deserves to stay in your present. What about you? Is there a drawer or corner you've been avoiding? What might be waiting in there, quietly asking to be handled with care? Share your thoughts below. It might help someone else start their own gentle release. For Irvéna, it wasn't the clutter itself that wore her out. It was where the clutter lived. Under the sink, bottom drawers, low baskets tucked neatly against the wall. At first, she didn't think much of it. That's just where things go, right? You bend a little, you grab what you need, and move on. But one afternoon, while reaching under the bathroom sink for an old bottle of floor cleaner, she felt a sharp pull in her lower back. The kind that stops you in your tracks. She stood up slowly, hands bracing the counter, breath caught in her chest. That night, she sat down and asked herself a hard question. Why am I storing the things I use most in the hardest places to reach? She realized something most older adults never think to question. Our homes were designed for bodies that don't age. Cabinets assume you can kneel. Shelves assume you can lift. Drawers assume you'll remember what's buried beneath. But that no longer worked for her life. So she changed everything. First, she made a rule. If I use it weekly, it needs to live between my waist and shoulders. That one shift changed her entire routine. She moved her most used items, cleaning spray, hairbrush, hand soap, backup toothpaste, into a small, waist-level drawer. No more crouching. No more fishing things out from behind pipes or bending deep into awkward spaces. Next, she bought a rolling bin with soft rubber wheels. It fit perfectly in the space where her under-sink basket used to be. Now, instead of getting on her knees, she simply rolled it out like a drawer, grabbed what she needed, and pushed it back in with her foot. Then came the lighting. She installed a motion-activated LED strip under the sink. No switches, no fumbling in the dark. Just light when she needed it, exactly where she needed it. These weren't expensive renovations. They were simple changes designed around her body, not her storage space. And the results? Remarkable. She stopped straining her knees. Her back pain eased. And most importantly, she no longer dreaded the little tasks that used to drain her. This is the lesson so many seniors overlook. It's not about making your home look younger. It's about making it work for the body you have now. Aging well doesn't mean doing things the hard way. It means doing them the right way, for your safety, your comfort, and your future. What's one item you use every day that's stored too low or too high for comfort? Would moving it change how your day feels? Let us know below. Someone else might need that exact reminder today. By the time Irvéna finished her changes, months after the first drawer, the first bottle, the first goodbye, something unexpected began to happen. Sunday, once her most exhausting day, started to feel gentle. No more dragging herself through hours of wiping, bending, and folding around things she didn't use. No more quiet frustration after cleaning, wondering why the room still felt off. Now, she'd wake up, pull open her freshly organized drawer, and reach for what she needed, without hesitation. No digging, no sighing, just ease. Her bedroom didn't just look different. It felt safe, warm, current. It didn't whisper reminders of things left undone. It gave her permission to rest. The bathroom? It no longer felt like a zone of overwhelm. With fewer items, softer lighting, and safer storage, it became a place where she moved with comfort. Nothing was out of reach. Nothing surprised her. But the real transformation came in a quiet moment on a Tuesday afternoon. Her neighbor, Florence, stopped by for a visit. They'd been friends for years, but Irvéna always found excuses not to let her back past the living room. Oh, the bedroom's a bit messy. I need to clean the bathroom. Next time. But this time, when Florence offered to help with the sewing project, Irvéna opened the door, literally and emotionally. She showed her the room, the new setup, the simplified drawers, the memory box tucked respectfully in a closet. There was no shame, no explaining, no embarrassment. Later that week, her granddaughter came to visit. For the first time, Irvéna invited her to help sort through a few things. Not because she couldn't do it alone, but because it no longer felt like a burden. It felt like a connection, a chance to pass on wisdom, not just things. And that was the moment Irvéna realized this wasn't just decluttering. This was care for her space, her body, her mind. She didn't feel lighter because she had fewer objects. She felt lighter because her home finally reflected her present life, not just her past. What she gained couldn't be folded or stored. It was the kind of freedom that comes when your space supports you, not silently weighs you down. This wasn't a one-time fix. It lasted because it wasn't about cleaning harder. It was about choosing differently, and that choice changed everything. You don't have to wait for the perfect weekend. You don't need bins or labels or a massive plan. You just need one quiet moment and one honest look at something that no longer fits the life you're living now. Maybe it's the drawer you always skip. Maybe it's a shelf filled with things that haven't moved in years. Maybe it's one item that keeps asking, without words, why am I still here? Start there. Because decluttering after 60 isn't about chasing minimalism or trying to impress anyone. It's about lifting weight you didn't even know you were carrying. It's about claiming space for the version of you that exists right now. Not the one you were 20 years ago, or the one you held onto out of habit or guilt. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means making room to breathe, to rest, to live with ease. There is peace in simplicity, not because everything is gone, but because everything that remains has purpose. And that shift, it doesn't just change your room. It changes how you feel in it, how you wake up, how you move, how you invite others in. or let yourself relax when no one's around. So here's your first step. Pick one small space. Don't overthink it. Touch each item with intention. Keep only what serves your body or your peace. Let the rest go, gently, respectfully, and without apology. Because this is your home, your sanctuary. It should reflect you, not just your memories. If this video helped you see your space differently, tap that like button, subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors, and share it with someone you love. And tell us in the comments, what's the first thing you're ready to release today? Your next chapter might begin with that single choice.